I'm excited to be here now, and we'll just jump right in. Why don't you tell us a little bit about you and how you got to where you are as an author now?
Okay. Well, hello, everybody. I am SJ Tilley. I started publishing in 2021, which now is 2025, and that's wild, but we're not going to talk about that. I did start writing in 2019. I didn't know how to publish. I read a bunch of indie authors, but I didn't know they were indie authors, so I didn't know, how that works. Also, am I loud enough? I have my phone kind of away
Yeah,
from me. Okay, perfect.
yeah, you're great.
Okay, good. So long story short, I had like a mini mentorship that I won through an auction with Jamin Eve, who writes paranormal stuff, and I was actually a fan of hers. And so she told me about self-publishing, and by that point I had 5 books done. But I didn't, again, I said I didn't know how to publish, so I just kept writing. So I had my 3 of my hockey books and 2 of my romantic suspense, so the Sin series and the Slate series. So I rapid released 5 books in 5 months, and then had written like the third Sin book, published that at the end of 2021, and then I just kept writing. I think at the end of 22, I quit my job. Either way, I don't know. It's been a while. Now I write full time. Sorry to my old bosses. I work way more now than I ever did before. Because you just deadline, constant deadlines. So we're here because of my most recent release, which was the Mountain Man series, book 1, Mountain Boss. This was my first time doing something outside of Minnesota. So I live in Colorado now. I moved here just about a year ago. But previous to that, I lived in Minnesota. So all my books were set in Minnesota, with the exception of Dom, which was one of the Alliance books that was kind of based mostly in Chicago. But once I moved here, or we knew we were moving here, I started we live in the mountains. We're rural, and so I just got inspired, and I'm like, you know what? We need some men in flannel. So here we are.
I feel like, am I remembering this correctly? Did Courtney come from North Carolina?
She did.
Okay.
Yes.
So yes, because I lived in Colorado until I was 10, and then I moved to North
Oh,
Carolina,
shut
and
up.
I've been here ever since. So I was
That's
like, oh, this is fun. It's like reverse.
Yeah, I love that. And why North Carolina? I have some friends that live out there, and so I just needed a place to choose, and so I think that's where it landed. And so it's the girl character from book 2 also comes from the East Coast. Book 3 she doesn't though. So,
Well,
sometimes
I'm a fan. I'm a fan of the East Coast, so keep it coming.
yeah, it's fun. I lived in Delaware for a hot minute when I was in college. I had an internship out there, so that was the only time I've lived in that area, but it's fun. I love it.
Yeah, I don't go that far north typically just because it gets colder, but we
Yeah,
have great weather here.
fair. Look, we got 2 feet of snow over the last 2 days where I'm at, so it's winter, but
Yikes.
yeah.
Well, so you kind of just told us a little bit more about why you're writing based in Colorado, but where did the inspiration for this series come from?
So every single one of my books, I'm a plotter. I know not everyone is, but I'm a plotter, and also I'm sorry, it's gonna distract me. Okay, here we go. Sorry. So I'm a plotter, and I wait until my book is 90 some percent done before I'll start writing it. Um, and so when it came out here, the opening scene to Mountain Boss was just I just had it in my brain. And that's there's always one scene from a book. It's not necessarily the opening scene of the book, but for that one, Mountain Boss started it all. I just I love the idea of this girl driving up to this lodge, a bunch of cabins. I love the mistaken identity. He thinks he's hiring a dude. Obviously it's a girl. And then just little tidbits for the other 2 books kind of fell into place. But once I get something like that in my head, I just obsess over it until I have the outline done, and then it's time to write.
So what does plotting look like for you?
So I do it in my notes app on my phone. It is not super well organized. It is in chronological order, but I don't even list. It's not chapter 1, chapter 2. It's nothing's organized like that. I might put I'll do all caps his POV if I know for sure I want that scene to be his POV. But otherwise it'll be something as simple as a sentence, or it'll be a whole dialogue that I'll kind of type out to have there if I I really know what I want them to say. So I just handed off book 2 to my editor on Monday. I'm getting ready to start book 3, and so I will like open up my notes app, and I always forget that it takes me like 5 hours. But like I'll sit down and go through and like put them in chronological order, because like I do an okay job when I start an outline, but then like as I get closer to writing the book, I'm like, ooh, here's an idea, here's an idea. So then I just put it all at like the top, and then I need to like go through and sort and reorganize, and then figure out like what's still missing, how many more like scenes do I need to add. So it's kind of a mess.
Well,
But
I realize I completely skipped, but can you give us like a summary of this book specifically, Mountain Boss?
yeah. So Mountain Boss it's Courtney and Sterling. Sterling Black, he owns Black Mountain Lodge. And so Courtney it's a down on her luck. We let like it's a poor girl situation, hot guy, right? Like we love it. This whole series too is an age gap. This one 10 years, 12, I don't honestly, I can't remember. I'd have to look at my notes. I'm like I finished book 2 now, so like book 1 details are a little bit blurry. Yeah, so it's her too, like she's been kind of down on her luck her whole life, and so she needs a job that comes with a place to stay. So she finds this job working as like the maintenance person at this lodge. He hires her, she shows up, they have like their interaction in front of his cabin, and it's the whole, I thought I was hiring a guy named Court. Her name is Courtney. She's there to work. He's like instantly attracted to her. Like every single one of my books, she's a plus size curvy girl. And so he wants to not hire her. She's like panicking because she literally has no money and nowhere to go. Like she's supposed to live on site. And so he gives her the laundry cabin to live in. Unbeknownst to him, it's not really a great setup. There's some things missing in her little cabin. I don't know if we want to do all the spoilers or not. I mean, I feel like people, I don't know.
You can do
Uh,
some.
yeah, I don't want to give stuff away if you haven't read it, but also it's been out for a while, so like you can read it. So her living situation's not great there, but she also like has no choice. Like she can't leave. So he's still like kind of trying to like bully her a little bit to like get her to go, but also his heart's not really into it, like, you know, because he's really attracted to her. And honestly, this is one of those times when my outline, I normally stick to it really well, and I did, like, as far as the scenes go, but there was like by the time I got to like certain scenes, I'm like, well, he's not gonna be mean to her anymore. You know, I'm like, he's already obsessed with her, so I had to kind of change the tone of some of those. So then it's, of course, you know, it's the boss employee, it's kind of forbidden, it's enemies to lovers, and then obviously the attraction grows, and then they're like hiding their relationship from the other employees. So yeah, there's a bear.
There is a bear. What is the approach? Obviously, like you talked about how you outline and kind of navigate who's going to do which scene, but how do you approach writing different points of view in terms of like tone and just kind of choosing personality traits, that kind of thing?
I I love, as you'll, so this book had the most chapters I've ever written. So I'm like, I write short chapters anyways, and I normally have over 100. This one had, I think, 198 chapters. And I know people like will see that, and if they haven't read my stuff before, they're like, what? But I'm like, just trust me, just go with it, right? Like, and so what I love about that, and look, I read a lot of like single POV books too, so I'm not throwing shade on that. But like for me, I love knowing both sides of the story at the same time. Like, I want to know exactly what he's thinking when he's being rude to her. I want to know what she's thinking, how she's feeling. So I love the dual POV, and I love going back and forth fast. And so the word count for book 1 and book 2 are literally the same. Like they're off by like 200 words. But book 2 has 40 less chapters, like 40, zero. Like, so, because those ones are a little bit longer, the scenes are different, you know, and it's not an enemies to lovers, so there's not like a time where you're like ever questioning if he's like actually likes her, you know. So it's like, so this book is the first time I've done like an enemies to lovers kind of situation, and so like I just had a lot of fun with it, and that's kind of probably why I ended up with like 200 freaking chapters, but I
Well, how
enjoyed
did
it.
you decide, like for both of them? You've got Courtney, who you've already said is just down on her luck, and then we've got Sterling, who obviously is kind of rude to her to begin with, and the conflicting emotions that come with that. So, like, how did you that come with changing his mind? But how did you kind of know what each of them was going to be like?
I While I'm outlining I get a pretty good idea. And that's like, and sometimes an outline, I will literally do an outline in like 2 weeks. Other times I will be working on an outline for a year. Like, so this one was a shorter time frame than that, but like it took a while, for me to compile their story. And so by the time I start writing it, like I have a pretty good feel for who they are. And as you start going into it, kind of like their individual characteristics kind of come out more. And that's where like I knew I wanted him to be grumpy. I knew he was going to be like resentful for being there and want her to go. But that was again like by the time I'm writing it. So like the scene when she falls, when she first sees the bear and she like drops her clothes after getting out of the shower, when in my outline, he was still going to be rude to her there. Like it was still going to be like, what do you like, why are you even here? Like you should but by the time I reached that scene in the book, I was like, having been in his head, I'm like, well, he's already obsessed. And I should have known better too, because like every book I write, like all my guys, like all my girls are curvy and all my guys are like over the top obsessed. They're like instant attraction, instant love. That's just what I do. Like it's just how they all go. So I don't know why I didn't think that like this one would be any different. But yeah.
Hey, if it's not broke, don't fix it.
Right.
Um, so obviously, like it's a romance. We get sex scenes in this book. I would love to get your insight as to why you think it's important to write sex scenes, but specifically like women having pleasure without shame.
Yeah. I mean, I think this is a good question, but I would also say like it says something about society that like we would have to ask this question when every single James Bond movie he's fucking someone like, and that's like whenever I'm talking to people outside of the romance community that are like, but why does it have and I'm like every action movie ever has the guy sleeping with someone that is not at all concerned about her pleasure. I don't ever remember them getting off in those like the girls. It's all about the dude. So like as women writing women's romance, like it's just gonna be a part of it. And it's a part of relationships. Like sometimes they're having sex just because it's fun and like they're in the mood for it. But also like it always has something to do with the plot. Always brings them together. It's always something here or there. And I think we have like, there's always gonna be like the Puritan side of culture where like we don't want to talk about it. I'm like, if you're completely celibate, sure, you can judge, I guess, if you want to, but I bet you're not. So, like, when people have a problem with it, I'm like, have you slept with someone? Okay, like, then what are we judging? And two, as women, like, that's part of the romance and part of everything else. I think too, like, society has always made men seem hornier. Which is like, men, mind in the gutter. I'm like, look, ladies are just as interested, but it's also like the pleasure side. Like we want that too. And that's something that's, not taught or talked about or what have you. And it's like, why should it be weird?
Were you like comfortable right out of the gate writing that? And like, I don't know what it is, like if your family and friends know that this is what you do, that kind of stuff. But
Right.
like, did it take a minute or were you just like, yeah?
Yeah, I knew I knew I was gonna, as romance, I knew I was gonna have sex scenes in it. And I like, look, I read a lot of historical and there's like a bunch of those too that are like closed door, fade to black, whatever, which also I enjoy. Like it doesn't have to be there, but I also really enjoy when it's in there, like, and I didn't start reading romance till I was in my 20s. I know a lot of people that read romance start when they're younger. Like I started on thrillers, like I read a lot of like Dean Koontz, Jack Reacher, all that stuff, through like college. And it was after college, my mom actually gave me my first romance book. And I remember reading it and being like, what's this? Like, well, this was entertaining. So that kind of started everything. So my family knows what I write. My mom actually, like, from the very first book I started writing before I even knew how to publish. Like at night when I finished writing, I would email it to her, and she would read it because she's like, we grew up going to the library. Like I read every day. I have for as long as I can remember. Um, and so the first book I wrote was my hockey rom-com series, and so like it's a little more tame but it's still dirty. And like the first time I had a spicy scene in that, I like just in the subject line to my mom I just wrote LOL and then I sent it to her. So I'm like, I mean, she knows it's a part of the genre. So, and now she's like done every book. Like my sister reads it, my stepmom reads it, like cousins, whatever. Like I don't know that the men in my family read it, and I'm fine with that because they're also like not readers. But
I love that.
yeah, I'm like, just you just got to go into it knowing that it's fiction. I'm like, you can't, don't overthink anything. That's just what I tell when like my family or friends like that know me are like, I'm gonna read your book. I'm like, just enjoy it and don't overthink it. Like,
I think
you
that's
don't
a great
know.
approach. That's so smart. Like, just it is what it is, and have fun. That's what it's
Right.
there for.
Yeah. If you get weirded out by it, it's not my problem, and I don't want to hear about it. So, yeah.
Well, we've kind of talked about some of the tropes that are in here, and one of them I found was like the found family trope with the men of Black Mountain. And specifically, there's a situation where they all kind of come together to protect Courtney, and she has no idea that this is happening. She's got no idea that something's going on that they need to protect her from. And I just really loved that, like, show of community and unity, and wanted to know just more about like what it's like writing the found family trope. Also, did you know that was going to be there the whole time, or did that kind of come out as you were plotting? How did it get there?
Yeah, I think that one, again, it shouldn't be as a surprise to me when the stuff like this happens because I feel like found family is like a lot of my like it ends up happening a lot. And as I was writing the book too, like she did get closer to some of those side characters, which again, like everything in this book takes place like in the lodge. There's like one or two scenes outside of the lodge, so I'm like they're gonna all be together all the time. Um, but two, I'm like I think it's a reflection on life. Like most of us, not all of us, like even though like I like my family, but like most of us are closer to our friends than we are to our family, like, and that's just people that you pick up along the way and you meet at different times in your life. And like I talk to my friends all day every day, between group chats and text messages and voicemail, whatever, so it's like it just feels natural to me to have that. And I know not everyone has that group of friends. And I don't know why, I love writing those characters where it is like those girls that like, they don't have any friends and they're trying to find that. And so, like, I think it's like, especially when you're in a situation like that, where just all of a sudden everyone around you becomes someone like you care about, like, it just, I don't know, it's like a good feeling. So, just kind of, I feel like it happens naturally in like most of these books, but it's also, I think, a fair reflection on real
Yeah,
life.
absolutely. Did you have a favorite scene or one that like sticks with you a lot from this book?
Oh man, I don't know. Anything with Lady Bear, I did love. I do also like. I love writing violence. So the scene where they beat up the guy. Spoiler. You can figure out where that is. Like that was a lot of fun for me to write. I enjoy those. But really too, I think like being in Sterling's POV, like especially when he's still trying to like fight it. Like I had a lot of fun with that.
Yeah, I'm sure that that is really like entertaining watching someone like fight with themselves about, I don't want this, but it's
Yeah.
happening.
Right. Yeah. He's like, I don't want to like her, but too bad.
So, if readers could only take away one thing from this book, what would you hope that would be?
You know what? I think it would be Courtney's independence. Like even though she ends up with Sterling, obviously, right? It's a romance, HEA. That's not a spoiler. Um, she still would have been fine, and she put in the work and did the stuff. And like too, when she gets the job and he's like, well, do you know how to fix a well pump? And she's like, well, do you have the internet? Like, she's like, I can figure it out, where it's like we are capable of a lot more than I think we give ourselves credit for, because sometimes like it would suck to have to, you know do these hard things, but also like we can do the hard things when we have to.
Yeah, I think about that all the time. Like, we recently had our garbage disposal like mess up, and I was just like, I don't want to do this, but like, I watched so many YouTube videos, and I was like, I know I can do this if I have to. I don't want to, but
Right.
I can. And I
You can.
think we forget that about
Oh,
ourselves.
for sure. Look, I don't want to paint the ceiling in my office, but like if I had to, I could. Now, if we're in a privileged position where we can hire someone to do it, even better. But you know what? Like,
Exactly.
or if we have a Sterling to just do it for us, also even better. But
Yes,
we don't need them. We just enjoy having them around. Like,
we definitely do.
yeah.
One word to describe this book, what would it be?
flannel. I have to do that. It had to be a big part of this book too. Obviously, like all the men in the series wear it, but like you had to get the mountain vibes right. And like I've done the men in suits before, and like I'm like so like I reiterated the flannel a lot in this book, and like she wore his and everything else. So like that would I
Um,
think that
what was it like choosing the model cover?
oh god. So hard. I'm just kidding. Um, so I and okay. So the guy's name is Christopher, and he is a fucking gem. Like he's like super nice. I sent a copy to him to give to his mom, and he like sent me a picture of his mom holding the book. Like she was so excited to have her son on the cover of a book. I don't always get to know like the models. Sometimes they don't have social media. Sometimes I'll take him and they'll just like thumbs up it, you know, but like he was like all in from the get go. Like as the book released, because like this book, you know, hit number 3 in the Kindle store for a couple days, and hit number 1 in Canada, and he's from Canada, so like he was sharing screenshots in his own story about like we're number 1, you know, like he was just so nice, super sweet. But his photo, so all of my books have a Hawkeye paperback and then a discrete hardcover, with the exception of Baby Cakes, which is like my novella or my holiday. It's like a trio of novellas, and that has a Hawkeye paperback, but then the individuals are also paperback because they're like novellas, but they're discrete. So I have discrete and hot for both for all my books. And I use Wander Photography for all my books. It just like when I originally did the switch from my original discrete covers that I had when I first started, I just found all the photos on his site, and since then I've become like friends with him. I know him well. Like we've met many times. He's super sweet. He's the model. He is the model on the cover for Mountain Daddy. But so when I bought the cover for Mountain Boss, um, his business partner too was like, "Well, what else do you need for this series?" I'm like, well, I'm specifically looking for this. I'm specifically looking for this. So they actually did a custom photo shoot for Mountain Daddy and then book 3, which I haven't announced the title for, but the cover for that. Both of those were like custom shoots. Yeah, which was super great. And like, he didn't charge me custom prices, which is even better. But I'm on book like 20 of covers that I've used like this guy through. So it's
That's
fun.
so fun. I love that.
Yeah, and it makes it like it's there's still like 1,000+ pictures to like scroll through, but like when I know what I'm looking for, like, and I go to his website and I can like look through the different model individual, like they all have the same vibe. Because obviously there's a lot of great photographers out there, a lot of great websites you can buy photos from, but since I always use Wander, it makes it easier for me. I need to start looking for my covers for my next series, like, but it's not that it's not that much of a hardship to just like spend some time scrolling through pictures of hot guys, you know, like
There are worse ways to pass the time.
quite literally. And people always are trying to be nice and offering to help me find them, but it's also like I have something in my head specific. So I'm like, unfortunately, it's just me. It's just me that has to like look through and find it. But I'm not.
Do you multitask? Like, can you like listen to something or watch something while you're doing that, or is it focused in?
I pretty much zone out. I am an audiobook girl. I listen to, I think, probably like 4 hours a day of audiobooks. But if I'm doing something on a screen like that, I'm not paying attention. so, yeah, it is just me scrolling and clicking, going back through. So,
Well, I don't want to keep you too much longer, but I would love to know if you have any advice you would want to give to aspiring authors, writers, anyone trying to self-publish, anything like that.
yeah, absolutely. And I actually get a lot of messages from people that are just starting or publishing. And I'm always happy to take those questions. Really, like self-publishing is super easy to actually do. It's not always easy to like find an editor and find a cover designer and all that stuff. Like that's kind of the tricky part. But like honestly, like through like KDP, like the Amazon site, like it really does just like walk you through it. Writing the book, writing your first book is the hard part, right? And it's like, so when everyone asks me, I'm like, give yourself some grace. Like it's gonna take time. The way I can write a book now is a lot different than the way I wrote my first book. You know, like I probably read through that book like 8 times, and now if I went back, I would change a lot because you've learned and you've learned how to self edit and stuff like that. But your first book is gonna take a while, and that's okay. But there also are like, if you're on a budget, spend your money on an editor and a cover. But there are really good pre-made covers out there. I'm lucky enough to like have a cover designer I love to work with. But like you can even go on Etsy and find like pre-made book covers. Yeah, and like a lot of people do it with like their holiday books or stuff like that. So don't stress. Like you can find it. I would say if you're not already a part of the book community, which if you're watching this, you probably are, do that. If you have a pen name, create your profiles under that. I didn't create my pen name until like 2 months before I published my first book. I think I had like 20 followers on here when I released my first book in 2021. You know, now we're up to like 53,000. So, and that was all like natural over time, but it takes time, you know, like, and you unfortunately have to spend a lot of time on social media, like for good or for bad, like as self-promotion if you're not looking to spend a bunch of money on ads, which I had never done. Um, but it's definitely possible, but you just got to be easy on yourself. Like give yourself time. When you release it, like very few times do people release their first book and it just blows the hell up, you know, like just give it a second.
Yeah, and I think that's I hear that a lot. Like I have friends that are, wanting to publish and it's kind of like just the intimidation factor with the imposter syndrome, with just the not knowing how to do it. I think it can get really daunting for people and maybe
Yeah.
sometimes they give up before they really can give themselves a chance. So I think it's really a great message to be like just keep going.
I mean, it really, and it's too, it's like, just write the book. It might take you 2 years or it might take you 4 weeks. Like, and everyone's different. It doesn't mean it's bad or good. Everyone has different situations. I don't have kids. We just have dogs. This is what I do full time. Like, I can dedicate a lot of time to it. Like, I have friends that have kids and jobs and stuff. Like, they're not gonna be able to spend as much time on it, you know? So it's like, we all have our own situations. And like the imposter syndrome thing, like, everyone started with their first book. Even Colleen Hoover. I don't know what the hell she did before she released books, but like she started with her first book at some point. Someone asked like what I did before. I was in sales. I was in outside sales for like commercial construction. I talked to people about countertops. You know, like it was lame. It was fine. Whatever. It was a job. But like I went to school for marketing. I did not go for writing. I never considered this as a career. I just started writing one day for fun because I was bored. Like so you can go to school for writing or you can like not go to school at all. It doesn't matter. Like so your background is unimportant when it comes to publishing a book. Like it's just about the book. And even if your book is good, sometimes it'll take a while to get traction. And I know it sucks because we all want to be like successful all the time. But it did like and it's easier said than done to not let that get you down. But like you find friends. Like you gotta have good friends too. Like my friends that hear me complain about stuff all the time, but I'm like, I just need to get it off my chest. I'll feel better. I'll be fine, you know? Like, but you gotta let it out.
Well, that's a lot of really helpful information, and I know people are so happy to have it. Thank you for taking the time to share it.
Yeah.
Before we sign off, I would love to know or give you the opportunity to just talk about what you're doing next. Like you said, Mountain Boss has been out for a minute. We know there's more to the series, but anything you want to talk about?
Yeah. So book two, Mountain Daddy. Again, this says Wander on the cover. I don't have one to hold. So he's like my photographer and my model. He was actually also the cover model for Baby Cakes, which was like my holiday book.
I thought
Um,
I recognized
yeah.
him because I was like, I feel like I've seen this man.
Yes, you have. And I was always trying to not reuse models, and then when I was talking about like what I needed for the mountain series, they're like, well, you know, Wander could do the picture. I was like, yeah, fuck it, do it. Like, like people love Wander. I love Wander. Like, and he fit perfect for the daddy vibes. Like, so I have that. Book three will be out November 20th of this year. So this year will be all of that. Before I start writing book three, I'm actually gonna write my bonus scenes for the Alliance, because that's getting republished in paperback with Entangled next year, and so part of that includes bonus chapters. So I got to get those written, and then I'm on to book three, and then next year it's a whole nother series. So
Wow.
just something all the
There
time.
you
Yeah.
go. And like you said, you work more now than you ever did.
Literally, yeah. But it's fun and I love it, so we're good.
Well, thank you so much for joining me. I've had a lot of fun chatting with you, and I can't wait for the next one.
Yeah, thanks so much for fitting me in. So I appreciate it.
Well, everyone, thank you for joining, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Okay, bye.